for you today is a compression sack. It's pretty easy to make, and it's similar to any other sack. The last stuff sack I showed you, similar attributes. You know, it's a square bottom and flat felled seams on everywhere I put a seam whenever possible. And what it's got different is when you make the square bottom, instead of cutting these tabs off, you turn it inside out first, and then you leave the tab, and then you sew the tab on and put your webbing there. It ends up with a handle there, and then you make the top like a dry bag with a roll top, and you make them so they're 90 degrees to each other, wherein this strap is going to go around that direction, this strap is going to go around that way, and then you can compress it down. And easy compression sack. You know, no caps or lids or anything else to make. It's just all part of the bag. So let's get started on that, and I'm sure you'll see at the very end of this video, if you can sit through it, I get a little cut off because my card got full, and long story short, it's a bag. So I hope it's useful information for you, and good luck on it. Here we go. What we're going to try to make here is a compression sack. I just happen to need one for my hammock sock I just made, a canvas hammock sock. So it's a pretty big and bulky thing, and what I want to get here is what will end up being mostly its storage sack, so it's going to be a little oversized, but I'll make it a compression sack so I can squish it down some in the hopes it'll fit better into maybe a pulk or something. I really what I've got here is my fabric is already cut. It's not cut to length. I'm not sure how tall I want the bag yet, so I just left it long. And of course I'm making it from scraps, so I had to actually sew two pieces together. So just ignore that particular seam anytime you see it in the building process. As well as on the bottom edge, I already put some grosgrain on it. Because this is cotton canvas, I can't seal the ends with heat sealing, and it has a tendency to fray pretty badly. So I just sealed, I enclosed the end there. Rather than doing a rolled hem or something, I put some grosgrain on it. So that's where we are so far. So now the fabric is in a tube, still inside out at this point, with a seam running down it all the way to the end, and that's what we got as a tube. All right, now like I said, I just ironed this, so I got some nice edges, and I've got the seam running down the center of the bag versus on the edge of the bag. And what I'm going to do now is sew across here to form the bottom of the bag, and I'm going to sew in a little deeper than I normally would, just so that the entire of this grosgrain edge is inside the bag when I turn it back inside out. Or when I turn it right side out. It is currently inside out for this step. Okay, I just realized the error of my ways when what I should have actually done is not have put this grosgrain on earlier before I sewed the thing into a tube. What I should have done is waited till now and actually used the grosgrain to bind the bottom of the bag shut, and it would just be one layer of grosgrain there. Now I've got this double layer. I just wasn't thinking. Actually, yeah, I wasn't thinking. And so it'll be fine the way it is. I can live with it, but it would have made more sense to bind the bottom of the bag shut with grosgrain and be done with it in one step. And if you're making this out of nylon, you won't even need the grosgrain. You'll just be able to, cut it with a hot knife or iron of some description, solder iron, and heat seal the edges of the nylon. That's where we're at now. The bag now has a bottom, and I'm going to flip it inside out now for the remainder of actually flip it right side out so the correct, this is the inside we're looking at now. I'm going to turn it right side out, and we'll complete the bag from there. Okay, now the bag is turned right side out, and I've pulled out the corners of the bottom to make a square bottom. We're making a square bottomed stuff sack here, and what the plan here is, you can see here's the original seam from running down the side of the bag. It is 90 degrees to the seam I just sewed across to close up the bottom of the bag, and now I've ironed it all flat. I've got these pens here just so you can see a little better for contrast the edges of the square. So it makes a pretty square. And what we'll do now is sew these across a point like that. What we'll do is take this measurement from this point to this point, divide it into quarters, and you place one of these at a quarter of the distance from there to there, and another one at the quarter distance from here to there. The difference between this and the previous sack we made is we did this inside out on the last one. We're doing it right side out on this one, and we're not going to cut the corners off. This corner that's going to stick out here is going to be where our compression straps attach to. So that's the plan. Sew across here at the quarter points and get ready to put on some straps. Well, now the plan is we've sewn across there, leaving these little triangles that are not going to be the bag, but they're going to be the attachment point for the compression strap. So you take your buckle and weave it in there. Doesn't matter which way. You can have it over the top or have it folded under, however you want it to look, doesn't matter. But I would use the fixed part of the buckle versus this thing, which is going to be the sliding portion. And all we're going to do is, I'm going to leave it hang off a little bit just so it's not touching right on the point there. Oops, let's back this up. There we go. Like I said, we're going to sew this down, and we're going to stop right there at that seam there that makes that triangle. So, and then what we're going to do, once we get that sewn into place, you come over to the far side of it here. It looks like it might be washing out a little bit. Anyway, and this distance, let me back up again. The distance between here and there. So your webbing is going to be sewn down right to that, and rather than leave that, rather than just let it go across and leave it there, if you move this back a little bit, let's just say for the sake of argument that's 6 inches. If you measure from here to there 5 3/4 inches, when you sew it, the strap will get tight before the bottom of the bag because this is shorter than the bag itself. And then when you're pulling on it, you're going to be pulling on the strap to compress it and not against the webbing, the stitching in the bag. So I'm going to make it just a skosh shorter so that when I do the compression thing, I won't be stressing out the bag, I'll be stressing the strap. And it gives you a nice little handle to boot. Now we've got the bottom of the bag sewn up here. You can see there's the buckle, goes across to here, and then it's sewn onto the other triangular bit. And if I pull on that, the bag doesn't get tight. I don't know if I got that in there. The bag's not getting tight, the strap is. So that's going to keep us from stressing out the bag too bad. It's just a little bit of sagginess there. Plus there's a handle on the bottom of the bag now. So that's the plan for that. And what we'll do now is I'm going to actually stuff my hammock sock in here, see how tall I need to make it, and then we'll finish off the strap that goes on the top. Alright, I just cut the bag to length, taking this off. Don't need that anymore. I put Grosgrain around the whole top edge, so that's done now. And the next step is going to be to get the other compression strap put on. And the plan here is you've got the compression strap from this end going down, pointing down the middle of the bag. You've got the seam, the side seam of the bag over on an edge now. And what I'm going to do here is, well, let's see, where'd my buckles go? Well, anyway, imagine a buckle on the end of this. You have to sew your buckle on just like you did at the end. The receiver end, the female half, not the male half. So sew that on. You're going to sew it there, right across. Not sewing through, oh, there they are. Obviously, you're not going to sew the bag shut with it, but so just make sure that when you sew that on, you're going to go right across there, and just like that, and stop there. And then you're going to have your tail go off, and that will be what goes around the bag and comes back and clips into this. All right, well, it's sewn on now. I do a little box stitch sort of thing at each end of it, and then just on down the side. There's the female portion of that. I sort of went around the bag to see how long this needed to be. Here's the male half. And then at the ends, you fold it in three. Imagine this is the actual raw end. Fold it like that, and then a little bar tack across there. And you've got a little tab so it doesn't pull through the buckle there. And there it is. It's complete now. And maybe I'll show you how that works. Stand by. All right, here's the completed compression sack. My hammock sock is inside. This is, like I said, quite a bit more oversized than I would have made if I wasn't going to use this as a storage bag, but we'll just throw it in there. Roll this down like a dry bag or something. It's got a lot of rolls in it. And this goes around the bottom of the bag. You can go through the handle if you like. Compress that way. That's going to go over the top. Press it in that direction. Well, there you have it. Compressed to a reasonable size, and kind of got a lot of strap there. I can probably dial that in a little better later, but that's it. It's an easy compression sack.